Good afternoon, and welcome to another session of Notes from the Route. My name is Jared Forte, and this is our Monday through Thursday live broadcast that you can catch right here on Google Plus Hangouts on Air, on my YouTube channel, also on Jared Forte /live. You catch this every day at 12 noon. We're going to go over some interesting ideas. Hopefully, you'll get a lot out of this conversation at this stage of development of the ideas as it stands right now. What we're doing this week is we're talking about the creative process. And yesterday we talked about ideation, or coming up with a cool idea. Today we're going to the next step, which is production. And production is where the risk comes in. And it's risky when you move from the area of just coming up with ideas or playing with ideas to actually getting ready to make something real. The risk gets involved because you have to decide. And I want to first talk about what the word decide really means. If you break the word down, the roots of the word, D and side. Side, the suffix side, means to kill. It's the same root that's in the word homicide or suicide. All these side means to kill. And D means off. So when you decide, that means you kill off options. You kill off possibilities so that you can move forward. So where the creative process might be about being open to possibilities and gradually coming to some sort of form, when you get ready to produce, then you really have to start killing off options. And that's when it gets risky. Because once you kill off an option, once you kill off what the project or product is not going to be, then that's dead. And it's scary to move forward. It's challenging to move forward when you know that your options are, the further you move down the process of creation, the narrower your options become. If you want to make something that is usable and accessible, it gets smaller and smaller as you go. So that's where the risk comes in with production. And when you are a producer, you have to be a merciless assassin. You have to be willing to kill off the parts of the work that don't belong in the next phase. So if you want production is the point in the process where you have a reality check about your work. You have a reality check about the quality and the relevance of what it is that you're doing. You have to really get clear on exactly what you're making when it comes to starting to apply the resources that are necessary to make something that is ready for the market. So there's a relationship between technology and production that's worth talking about. One thing that technology has done across all areas of production, whether it be large-scale manufacturing to things that you can make in your home, whether it be digital technology that allows you to create websites or to code software or to create music or to edit photographs or create digital art. All these technological tools have enhanced the individual's ability to create and to move their ideas or their creation further along the chain of production. Now, the barriers of entry are lower. The tools are accessible to everyone from a cost standpoint. Sometimes the tools are free, but there is still there's the barriers of usability are also lower. The tools are easier. The tools are easier to use now than they were in the past. If you wanted to create a website 10 years ago, you more than likely would have to, if you wanted something that was decent, you would have to start from the ground up, HTML, code the whole thing up from scratch. Now there are tools that are available, there's software that's available that will allow you to skip some of that process and get something up that works. So there's tools that make things easier to do. But there's still a step, and that step is going to be at a different place depending on what you're creating. There is going to be a step where you're going to require professional level tools, or you're going to require professional level skills in order to get the results of that are required by the marketplace. So now I know that there's a lot of user-generated content. User-generated content has a lower production value by definition. This is stuff that you might see on YouTube. It's stuff like you see right here. This isn't a high level production value of this particular show that you're watching, because this is the first phase. This is a behind the scenes of the ideas. But there always comes a point when, if your idea is something that someone is going to consume, that someone is going to pay for, then there's a different level of quality that's expected. There's going to come a point where you have to care enough about the people who are consuming your content, the people who are using your product, that you want to make it a good experience for them. So sure, if you're a musician and we'll watch a video of you playing acoustic instruments on YouTube, and we'll appreciate your talents there. But we don't want that same quality in our iPod when we have to listen to it close up. And if you're creating some software and it's buggy because you're just starting out and we're beta testing it, it's an early version, we'll take that. We understand that it's just starting out and you're trying to get everything figured out. You're doing something, you're trying to innovate, we'll roll with that. But we don't want to have to deal with those problems when you're mature, when we have to pay for it. And if you're a writer and you're posting, if you have a casual Facebook post where you tell a short story, or if there's a mistake or two in your writing, nobody's really going to be concerned. But we're not going to sit through a book that's impossible to read because it was so poorly written and edited. So there's always going to be a point where, even if you're using sort of low quality content or low production value work, just to make a connection with people, that's fine. But there's always going to be a point where, when you get serious about it, you have to take it to the next level, and you have to adhere to some levels or to some standards of production value. So production really, it's about care. It's about how much you care about your idea, about your product, and the way it's presented. And it's also how much you care about the people who are using it, who are viewing it, who are consuming it, who are paying for it. Because if you care about the customer and you care about their experience, then you want to make sure that your production level or the quality of the product that you're putting in front of them is not a distraction. Chances are you're going to reach a point where you're going to need some assistance. Even though there are plenty of tools that are available that allow you to take your idea from the beginning and move it further along, whether you're creating a software, you can get it started and code up the first version, or you making music, you can get the idea down. Chances are you're going to reach a point where you're going to need some assistance. You're going to need someone else to come in and move your idea to the next level, because the chances are you may not have the ability to kill off the elements of your idea that don't work. Like I said, a producer has to be a merciless assassin, because the producer understands the genre, they understand the production value that works, and they have to be willing to mercilessly cut anything that takes away from the ultimate aim, because there are resources that are being allocated to this thing now. People are putting serious time into this project. People are applying professional tools to this thing. So it's no more time to play. There's no time to catch feelings. it's time to make something that has a chance to work, that is going to be a good experience for the audience, a good experience for the customer. So there's a good chance that the elements of production, regardless of what you're creating, are going to fall outside of your range of mastery. And yes, it could be that you are skillful enough to do everything. Chances are, though, that you are not the best at doing everything that's involved in making your product or making your project the best it can be. So when you limit the ceiling, you limit the potential of your project when you don't have the best people possible contributing to it. If you know, the tendency is tempting, especially because you got tools that are available to you. It's tempting to try to do it all yourself. And there may be cases where when you start out, you have to do it all yourself because the resources don't allow you to bring other people in. But one of your first priorities should be, as soon as you're able to, get the best people possible to do the parts of your work that fall outside of your zone of mastery. So we talked about some of the ideas about what production is and why it's important. I want to give a couple tips on how to improve your production, to increase your level, and to move up to the next level. One is, like I said before, simply to work with pros. If there's elements of your work, if you're a writer, work with a professional editor. If you're doing visual work, work with professionals in the field who can give you that level of production value that is, that takes your work and highlights it in the most favorable way. If you're doing something on the web, use a professional designer. That's one way to increase or improve your production value. Another thing to do, another thing that's possible for you, is to simply do less. Chances are that the broader the scope of the activities that you're doing, the less time and less energy you have to do it all well. There's a limited amount of time, there's a limited amount of energy and attention that you have in any given day that you can put in any project. So if you don't have the ability to bring other people into your project, then you really have to focus on the few things that make the most difference in the quality of the work that you're doing. You have to be willing to kill off the things that don't matter, to kill off the projects that don't contribute to your long-term goals, to say no to the ideas that fall outside of the scope of what you're ultimately trying to accomplish. So you can improve your quality by narrowing your focus and doing fewer things. And finally, you can improve your production level by making a permanent structure, bringing people in, partnering up with people who have the missing pieces, who can bring people together on an ongoing basis, who have skills that complement yours, who can be detached from the creative process and edit, or who can improve upon your ideas. Another angle on this is, if you're really good at taking things and proving concepts out, then sell it and move on to your next idea. Sell out and move on. There are people, that's what serial entrepreneurs do. They create ideas, they get traction in the market, they prove it out, and then when it comes time to take it to the next level, they sell out, or they get acquired by another company, and when they do their time and move on. So that's another way to level up your production value, so that you can create the type of product that is quality that's required by the market, that is a good reflection on you and your brand, and that has the biggest potential to reach the most people. So those are the notes on production. As you think about the work that you're doing and the phase you are in the process, whether you're at the idea phase transitioning to production, or if you're already bringing things into the market, think about how you can apply these three ways to bring your project to the next level, or to take the next thing you do and move your production value up to the next level, because in the end, you have to be willing to step up into the big leagues if you want to stand out and get attention in a crowded market. And I guarantee you that your market is crowded. So those are the notes for today on production. Tomorrow we're going to talk about promotion, which is the third phase of the creative process. I look forward to your feedback on this session, and you can follow me on Twitter at thisjared. I'll see you tomorrow.